Spotting fake relationships can feel like trying to tell apart a mirage from a real oasis in the vast desert of human connections. The trick is to stick with people who lift you up, those whose presence brings out the best in you. In a world where we often encounter superficiality and self-interest disguised as politeness, figuring out who genuinely cares for us is like mastering an art. It takes intuition and a sharp eye. If you're new to my channel, I'd appreciate your support through subscribing and liking the video, as it helps me create more content like this in the future. Sometimes we get caught up in believing too much in the kindness and goodwill of others, only to realize we're being used. Just like a skilled gardener can differentiate between plants that nourish and those that drain the soil, we must learn to spot true allies in our lives and recognize emotional leeches. So let's delve into the subtle signs and less obvious patterns that reveal hidden intentions behind smiles and empty promises. If you're here, it's because you're interested in personal growth, and in this content, we'll explore the wisdom of deciphering these human puzzles, guiding us towards more genuine and satisfying relationships. Let's get started. Number 1. Emotional manipulation. It often begins subtly, with the manipulator presenting themselves as caring and attentive. However, this guise quickly turns into a way to make the target feel anxious, inadequate, or guilty. They become skilled at pushing emotional buttons, praising you to lift you up when it suits them, then criticizing or undermining you sharply to make you doubt yourself and rely on them. Think of it like a gardener and a delicate plant. A careful gardener nurtures the plant with just the right amount of water and sunlight. In contrast, the emotional manipulator, like a neglectful gardener, switches between drowning the plant with too much water and letting it wither from drought. They use extreme emotional swings to destabilize you, making you emotionally dependent on them, always seeking their approval to feel warm and accepted again. This manipulation often targets your emotional well-being at its core. They might downplay your successes or exaggerate your failures to keep you in a constant state of uncertainty. They could twist situations to make you feel guilty for normal actions, shifting blame to ensure you always apologize. In relationships where emotional manipulation exists, the balance of power is always off-kilter. The manipulator controls when to show affection and when to withdraw it, keeping you emotionally reliant on them. This dynamic isn't about mutual growth or support, but about satisfying the manipulator's needs at the expense of your emotional health. Recognizing emotional manipulation requires keen awareness of these patterns. It means spotting interactions where your feelings are consistently toyed with and reflecting on how these interactions affect your sense of self and emotional well-being. Number 2. Broken promises. Imagine the act of making and breaking promises as a stage play, where words take center stage as the actors and actions merely follow a careless script. These individuals have honed their skills in verbal persuasion, adept at painting vibrant pictures of commitment and support. However, their words often fall short when it comes to actual deeds. They dazzle with promises, but when it's time to bring those promises to life, they falter, exposing the emptiness behind their assurances. In these relationships, a clear pattern emerges. Just when their support is most needed, when it's time to fulfill their promises, these individuals vanish, leaving behind a void of disillusionment and disappointment. This absence in times of need isn't just a breach of trust. It's a glaring sign of their true intentions. Their promises serve as tools of manipulation, aimed at extracting value, trust, or support without any intention of giving back. The failure to keep promises becomes a litmus test, separating those who value relationships based on mutual respect and support from those who view relationships as mere opportunities for personal gain. For those left stranded, the experience is often painful but enlightening. It teaches a valuable lesson. Not all promises are made with sincerity and integrity. Therefore, it's crucial to observe, understand, and identify individuals who may exploit others through unfulfilled promises. Number 3, disregard for your emotions or needs. Imagine being in a relationship where your feelings and needs are consistently pushed aside or ignored. It's like tending to a garden where only one flower is allowed to bloom while the others are left to wither. In these interactions, the other person's wants and desires take center stage, while yours are brushed aside or disregarded. Their actions and words act like scissors, cutting away at your emotional well-being, leaving you feeling undervalued and unseen. This lack of consideration can show up in different ways. Maybe they constantly overlook your emotional needs, failing to offer support or understanding when you're vulnerable. Or perhaps they show indifference to your opinions and choices, silencing your voice with their dominant perspective. They might even ignore your accomplishments or downplay your struggles, making light of issues that deeply affect you. This behavior isn't just thoughtless, it's a deliberate form of neglect. By invalidating your feelings and needs, the other person tries to maintain a sense of superiority in the relationship. They create an environment where your self-esteem is undermined, making you more vulnerable to their control. It's a subtle form of emotional manipulation, but its effects can be profound. This dynamic is particularly harmful because it strikes at the core of emotional well-being, our need to be heard, understood, and valued. When these needs are repeatedly ignored, it can erode your self-esteem and leave you feeling isolated, even within an ostensibly active relationship. To navigate these challenges, it's crucial to recognize the signs of emotional neglect. This awareness serves as a guiding light, helping you steer clear of relationships where your emotional well-being is at risk. It empowers you to seek connections built on reciprocity, respect, and mutual care, where your feelings are valued and your needs are met. Number 4, diminishing comments. Individuals who frequently use others to advance their own interests are skilled at employing small, undermining remarks as a means of wearing down their targets. These remarks chip away at self-esteem, confidence, and self-worth, masquerading at times as humor or casual banter when they are actually sharp jabs meant to degrade rather than uplift. They might downplay your achievements, ridicule your dreams, or display indifference and insensitivity toward your hardships. This behavior resembles a form of subtle psychological warfare, creating an unequal balance in the relationship. It's a deliberate tactic to keep you unsure of yourself, lowering your self-esteem and making you more vulnerable to manipulation and control. To these individuals, your lowered self-esteem boosts their own status, reinforcing their dominant position in the relationship. Furthermore, these disparaging remarks often stem from their own insecurities and feelings of inadequacy. By putting others down, they attempt to mask their own vulnerabilities and present a facade of superiority. This conduct is a clear sign of their incapacity to form healthy, supportive, and mutually beneficial relationships. Recognizing and comprehending this behavioral pattern is essential. It enables you to see beyond the surface charm these individuals often display and grasp the toxic dynamics. Number 5, lack of genuine support. Think of a tree in a big forest. In an ideal setting, it's surrounded by other trees and plants that give it nourishment, protection, and companionship. Now, imagine a tree all by itself in a dry, barren land with no other plants around to help or shield it. Being in a relationship with someone who doesn't genuinely care about your well-being feels like being that lone tree. You're left without support. your branches reaching out for companionship that never comes. In such relationships, your goals, projects, and challenges are met with indifference or empty gestures of support. The person might not actively oppose your plans, but they don't really show much interest either. They might offer half-hearted encouragement or say they support you, but their actions, or lack thereof, speak louder. When you need real help, meaningful advice, or just someone to listen during tough times, they're nowhere to be found. The reason for this lack of genuine support lies in their self-centered mindset. They only care about your successes or failures, your problems or interests, to the extent that they affect them or their own goals. They see relationships as transactions, where they invest emotionally based on what they can get back personally. This attitude creates an imbalance in the relationship. One person keeps giving effort, care, or resources, while the other just takes. Recognizing these patterns is crucial for your emotional well-being and for building relationships based on mutual respect and reciprocity. It helps you see through deceptive behaviors and form connections that enrich your life positively. Number 6. Unilateral benefit. This behavior can show up in different parts of a relationship, whether it's about money, emotions, or practical help. Financially, the person might borrow money or resources promising to pay back or help out, but they never follow through. Emotionally, they might rely heavily on the other person for support and attention, but give very little in return. And practically, when the roles are reversed, they might always ask for favors, help, or time, but disappear when their partner needs them. This one-sided benefit is like a parasitic relationship, where one person benefits while the other suffers. The user, like a parasite, gains nourishment, whether it's emotional, financial, or practical support, without giving back equally. Over time, this lack of balance can drain the giver's resources, leaving them feeling empty and unfulfilled. The reasons behind this one-sided benefit often stem from selfishness and a lack of empathy. The user sees relationships as transactions, focusing on what they can get rather than what they can give. But this approach ignores the importance of mutual respect, support, and give and take. Spotting this pattern requires careful observation. It means noticing the consistent lack of reciprocity and how you feel in the relationship, whether you feel valued and respected or used and underestimated. It requires an honest evaluation of whether the interactions are mutually beneficial or one-sided. Number 7. Lack of reciprocity. Think of a seesaw where one side is loaded with all your efforts, sacrifices, and commitments, while the other side is light with hardly any contributions. This picture shows a relationship without reciprocity. In such relationships, you're always investing time, energy, and emotions to nurture the bond. On the other hand, the other person's contributions are minimal, often just symbolic or completely absent. This unequal effort can show up in different ways. You might always be the one reaching out, making plans, while their responses are lukewarm or half-hearted. Your continuous support and understanding might not be reciprocated when you need it. Even when sharing personal experiences or skills, you might be open and honest, while they remain reserved or uninterested. The reason for this lack of reciprocity lies in their self-centered approach to relationships. For them, the relationship is just a convenience, something to use when they need it, without any intention of meaningful exchange. They only participate when it benefits them, ignoring your needs and feelings. This goes against the essence of healthy relationships, which thrive on mutual give and take, shared experiences, and a balanced emotional investment. Recognizing this lack of reciprocity means observing the relationship's dynamics consciously. It means asking yourself whether efforts to maintain and grow the connection are equally shared or mostly carried by you. It requires an honest assessment of whether the relationship feels enriching or draining, fair or lopsided. Number 8. Absence in critical moments. This behavior is like a tree that offers shade only on sunny days but disappears when storms come. When things are going well, these people are around, enjoying the benefits of the relationship. But when tough times hit and you need support, they vanish, leaving you to face the challenges alone. They see relationships as convenient tools, judging their involvement based on personal gain. Their support is shallow and only shows up when it benefits them or when there's something for them to gain. In crucial moments, like personal crises or setbacks, their absence is noticeable. It's during these times, when you need genuine support and empathy, that their true priorities and lack of commitment become clear. This behavior can deeply hurt and cause feelings of betrayal and disillusionment. It shakes the trust and reliability that were believed to be the foundation of the relationship. It raises questions about the bond, often leading to a reassessment of the person's role and importance in your life. Understanding this pattern is crucial to see the true nature of the relationship and the other person's intentions. It means recognizing that consistent support, both in good times and bad, is crucial for any meaningful relationship. Realizing that someone is absent during your toughest moments serves as a crucial test, separating those genuinely committed to your well-being from those only in the relationship for their own gain. Number 9. Betrayal. Betrayal in a relationship is like finding a crack in the foundation of a building. It might start small and go unnoticed, but over time, it can weaken the entire structure until it eventually collapses. Betrayal can show up in different ways, from little lies and deceit to deeper, more damaging acts. One sign of betrayal is when there's a lack of honesty and openness in communication. If you realize that the other person is always lying or hiding things from you, it's a warning sign. Trust is built on honesty, and betrayal shakes that foundation. Another form of betrayal is emotional disloyalty. If the other person isn't there to support you in tough times, if they reveal your secrets, or if they undermine your efforts, it shows they're not emotionally committed. And of course, there's betrayal through infidelity. Whether it's emotional or physical, it can cause deep and lasting damage in a romantic relationship. Recognizing betrayal means paying attention to warning signs and trusting your gut. Don't ignore changes in behavior or inconsistencies. Dealing with betrayal involves open and honest communication. If you discover disloyalty, it's important to address it with empathy and a real desire to understand why it happened. But it's also crucial to set clear boundaries and make choices that protect your emotional well-being. In conclusion, identifying and understanding these patterns in a relationship is crucial for maintaining healthy and meaningful connections. It takes self-awareness, honesty, and bravery to face the truth. If you notice any of these signs in your relationship, remember, you're not alone. Taking steps to address these issues might be tough, but it's essential for your long-term well-being. Whether it's setting boundaries, seeking professional help, or making tough decisions, prioritizing your emotional health is always worth it. You deserve relationships that support, nurture, and help you grow. Number 10. Constant competition. Think of a chess game where every move is carefully planned, not just to improve one's own position, but also to weaken the opponent. Similarly, someone who only wants to use you will treat your relationship like a strategic game. Every success, decision, or challenge you face becomes a chance for them to show they're better. They might overshadow your achievements, surpass your accomplishments, or subtly criticize your choices, all to prove they're superior. This constant need to compete shows up in different ways. In a work setting, they might try to steal the spotlight or take credit for your ideas. In personal relationships, they might downplay your experiences or compare them to theirs to make themselves seem more important. Even in casual conversations, there's always an underlying attempt to show they're smarter, better, or more successful. This behavior comes from deep-seated insecurity and a warped sense of self-worth. They don't measure their value by their own merits, but by being better than others. It turns every interaction into a win-lose situation where they must come out on top for them to feel good. Dealing with someone like this can be draining. It creates an atmosphere of constant tension where collaboration or support is replaced by rivalry. Your successes aren't celebrated, but seen as threats to their dominance, and your struggles are seen as chances for them to gain an advantage. Recognizing and understanding this pattern is important. It helps you set boundaries and shift the relationship towards a healthier, more collaborative dynamic. Remember, the foundation of any good relationship is mutual respect and support, not an endless competition for superiority. If you liked our video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and leave a comment. This helps YouTube understand that viewers like you enjoy these kinds of videos, and it encourages us to keep making more in the future. Thanks for your massive support. Until next time, stay strong, stay stoic, and let the stoic winds transform your life.